My name is Kenneth Cox, and this is my testimony challenge. I grew up in a small town here in Fort Mississippi, and did as most teens do. I dabbled with trying out first one drug and another, alcohol, marijuana, and never really got to where it was what I felt like it was an addiction. And I went to the military and did my term there, came back out, and that's when the drinking really started to get bad. I was trying to drown a bunch of the things that I did in the military. I was trying to drown that out with alcohol. So it did get to the point where I had to have help to quit. So I got the help I needed then, or the help I thought I needed then, and quit for a while. But it just opened up the door to do other drugs, such as prescription drugs and marijuana. But I stuck to the misdemeanor drugs, what I call it, for quite a few years, off and on, trying to quit on my own, and succeeding for a while, but not really ever defeating the demons in me to where I could stop using drugs altogether. And then I started to spiral down. I wanted more out of life than what I thought I'd accomplished. So I kind of had a midlife crisis there, and I started doing the harder drugs. That's where the devil really got a hold of me and took me to places that I didn't think I'd ever want to go, with crystal meth and cocaine, and still doing the misdemeanor drugs, dabbling in those, but I pretty much left them behind once crystal meth got a hold of my life. My last relationship was that going on 5 years, and when it ended, I turned totally to drugs. I quit my job, and I was hustling out on the street, selling part of the drugs I was getting to do more drugs. So once that got a hold of me, I spiraled down quickly. But I thought during the midst of all of that I was really free. I was loose from working. I was loose from any real entanglements. I was partying all the time. I had a bunch of people around me that were doing the like I was doing, which was just really spiraling down to hell that we were creating for ourselves. And I really thought I was free until I started going to jail. And that kind of scared me to the point to where I was thinking about the life that I was in, but I wasn't willing to give it up. At some point, the cops knocked on my door for something that someone else with my same name did. And it wasn't the cops knocking on my door. I believe God was knocking on my door at that point. That was the last day I got high. I went to jail, and I sat there going through the DTs, coming down from a 2-week bender and a 3-day high at the end of that bender, of just out of my mind, running so fast that I didn't even know where I was at the point when I'd gotten to jail. And when I started coming to myself, I was sick. I was throwing up every 10 minutes. I couldn't drink water without throwing it back up. For 3 days, I sat there coming down off crystal meth and thought I was dying. And at some point, I just looked up. And if y'all don't believe in jailhouse salvation, I'm here to tell you, that's where the good Lord came and saw me at my worst and said, I've got a way for you. And I prayed to him, and I said, if you will take this off of me, I promise you, I will never touch another drug, and I will live my life helping other people for you. And I went to sleep, I fell asleep, and the next morning when I woke up, everything was off of me. The pressure, the sickness, the DTs, the shaking, the cold sweats was all gone. after I slept for about 6 hours, falling asleep after that prayer. And I had determined at that point that whatever I had to do to stay off drugs, that's what I was going to do. So I started giving not only my repentance. I mean, I was repenting for all the things I did in my prayers at that point. And I said, God, just tell whatever you have of me, if I have to go to prison to get off these drugs. Because my probation officer done told me she was going to make sure that I did my full term in prison, because was already on probation from a prior charge. So I said, that's fine. Whatever God has for me, that's what if I have to quit using drugs in jail and stay clean in jail, then that's what I'll do. Well, when I went in front of the judge, it just so happens that he was the drug court judge. And he saw me, and I asked him what drug court was, and he said, oh, well, let me look. And he looked at my charge and said, oh, yes, you qualify. He saw that all I had was drug charges. He put me on drug court and suspended my sentence pending the fact that I complete the drug court program, go through rehabilitation, go to an outpatient rehab program, and complete the requirements for drug court in 3 years. Well, I've done that with ease, because I still stuck to the same thing that I promised God I would do, sitting in that jail cell hugging the toilet, that I was going to change my life and give it to Him. And God has blessed me every day since with getting back what the devil had taken from me during my addiction. My family, my self-esteem, my power in this world to be a force for good, for God, and to be somebody that can make a difference. And that's even stronger now than it was before all this happened. So I fully believe that with God's help, anyone can come back from addiction. There's no one that was worse on these drugs than I was. So if you can find it in your heart to just find a place of humility in you and speak to God about your addiction, you can get over it too.